Joining me here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is a man who's going to be talking quite a bit about his father on Epix on Saturday night. NFL Icons is a show that NFL Films produces, and it's on Epix every Saturday night. It's 1 hour about, and wait for it, an NFL icon. I am honored to have been asked to narrate the series for a second consecutive year. It debuted last weekend with John Madden being the featured NFL icon, and it's on at 10 p.m. Eastern on Epix. New episodes again at 10 Eastern, and you could stream Epix right here on the Roku Channel. You could start a free trial today to check out this amazing series and so much more on Epix on the Roku Channel. And joining us here to talk about NFL icons Walter Payton on Saturday night is his son, former running back and current WGN Sports anchor in the great city of Chicago, none other than Jarrett Payton here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Jarrett?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I love chatting with you. It's been way too long, a minute, as they say. So let's get to it. When did you first realize your dad was sweetness, Jarrett Payton? When did that first hit you?
You know what, Rich? It's funny to think about. I think back in the day when my dad retired in '87. So for me, it was kind of like around, I would say like 85, 86, around the Super Bowl time when we would go to eat at one of my favorite fast food restaurants, and they would hand out these Bears cards, and I would get them, and we'd always collect them, but I'd always get the 34 Walter Payton ones, and that's when I was like, holy cow, my dad is like a huge deal. he's like a big deal. And I think as we got older, and it was like around 87 when he retired, of just going places. Like we would go to the mall, and he would walk into the mall, and he would be surrounded by people. And I think not only did I know he was like a superstar at that time, but it also gave me perspective of what kind of person that he was. And the reason why the highest honor in the NFL is named after him, the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, because he would sit there the entire time and talk to everybody and sign every single autograph. And so for me, it really kind of gave me kind of the blueprint of how I wanted to be as a person. And I remember my dad would always say, don't be like me, son, be better than me. And I didn't understand what that meant as a kid, because I would always say, Dad, you're the GOAT. Like, you're the GOAT. How am I supposed to be better than you? He wasn't talking about on the field. He was talking about off the field and how you are to people, how you carry yourself, being a leader, and in your community and also in your circles. So, yeah, it was in the mid-'80s when I knew that my dad was a big deal. And then later in life, I think it was just seeing like just watching all the videos of my dad and seeing him like hanging out with Tom Cruise and like the people, like his circle that he used to hang with. And at the Super Bowl, last time I saw you in L.A., when we were walking around, and my sister and I were walking from the field handing out the award, and then we come upstairs and someone's like, "Oh, Magic Johnson wants to see you guys." So I dropped my phone. I was like, "What? Magic wants to see us? Like, why?" So we go into his box, and we're sitting there and we're talking to him. He gets up and he's like, "Jarrett, Brittany, what's up, guys?" He's like, "Man, I used to hang with your dad, man. I loved him." And I'm just thinking to myself, man, my dad was so cool, man. Like, he was one of the coolest guys, and probably the reason why his nickname was Sweetness.
So there's so many ways for me to follow this up, Jarrett, and I apologize that this is the one strand that I'm going to pull on, and I think you know what I'm talking about. What do you mean, Tom Cruise? Your dad was hanging with Tom Cruise? Give me that one. Come on, what are you talking about?
I know that they were at certain events together, but Rich, I mean, my childhood growing up was just not normal, and I said it in this Epix documentary. It's like, yo, this is not real. We're like, Michael Jordan came to my house in the late 80s and rang the doorbell, and I remember running to the door and my dad whistling, saying, "Go get the door," and I had no clue. We didn't have the lights on in the front, and I open up, and it's MJ standing there with like two big bodyguards and one of his boys. And he hopped out of a Geo Tracker, just to let you know. It was not like a Bentley or anything like that. It was a white Geo Tracker. And he comes into the house, and we normally would take like our company's coats and like put them on our washer and dryer instead of the coat room, because my mom had all her fur coats And Burt Reynolds used to always send my dad a leather coat every single Christmas. So we end up putting their coats on the washer and dryer. And my dad and Mike go downstairs, and we had an atrium in the middle of our house where it had glass. I could see them. My dad was setting up a card table. Oh. And I run downstairs because he whistled. And he said, I said, Dad, what do you need? He goes, I don't need anything. Mike needs you. And Mike's like, yo, little man, I need you to go get something. I'm like, Mike, I know we have a Gatorade outside with your face on it. Like, I'm thirsty, right? And he looks at me and goes, no, I'm good. Just go upstairs and get the money that's in my pocket. And if you guys would have timed my 40-yard dash, it's definitely faster than Rich's.
Thank you, sir.
Dash, right?
I hope so.
And I get upstairs, and I go in his pocket. He's got all this money rolled in rubber bands, hundreds, 50s, 20s. And I bring it down, and he gives me $5. And I said, thanks, Mike. And then about 2 hours later, you know, my dad whistles again. And my dad had all this money that he's counting in his hand, and Mike's got his head in his hand. And I remember him giving me the $100 bill, and I said, Dad, what's this for? And he said, I just took all of Mike's money. Say thanks. I'm like, thanks, Mike. And I ran upstairs into the night with $105. But just to be able to see those, like, who my dad hung with, and they were at my house until like 3 or 4 in the morning, battling at everything, and Mike was trying to get his money back probably.
Oh, my God, what a story. Wow. Jarrett Payton telling stories about his dad, current WGN anchor, but also the man who is going to take you through the journey of the brilliant life of the iconic Walter Payton and NFL Icons, which is available on Epix this Saturday at 10 Eastern Time. You could see it right here on the Roku Channel as well. So, but then the man himself, it is so amazing to me, Jarrett. I love it. I get chills when I see it. And I wonder about you, the patch that all players who win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award wear on their jerseys when they're playing, if they are still active. I mean, it just jumps off the screen at me. I saw it for Russell Wilson when he was playing on Monday Night Football, and it is truly, and I'll say it, more important in the mind's eye of some of the players than the C that's on their chest, which clearly is the ultimate honor that your teammates say you're a captain for all of us when we're out there playing. I just seeing the Walter Payton Man of the Year award trophy as a patch on players' chests, it stirs something in me. What about you, Jarrett Payton?
Well, Rich, I just got chills again, and I'm getting them as we speak right now. It's truly an honor. I mean, to be the son of, Walter Payton, it's always been kind of the gift and the curse, right? Like, when I started playing football, people would say you'll never be like your dad, even when I was playing soccer. But I'd always be thinking about what kind of man he was. He wasn't perfect by any means, right? All of us are human. But the way that he lived his life and the way that he gave back and giving back in service was such a big part of his life. It does. I saw Russell wearing it on his chest, and it looked at it, and I said, man, I got to get me a Broncos jersey with the patch on it, because it means so much. And my dad gave everything. I mean, everything on the football field, but he did the exact same off the field. So being able to have this relationship with all the nominees and all of the winners and the past winners, it's like this Man of the Year family. And our family is just honored to have these men who are doing so much in their communities, who are doing so much good, that they're recognized. And I got to give a shout out to Roger Goodell, the NFL, Nationwide, for really helping us elevate this award to another level. And every single year we add a new member to our family. And so it's crazy to me. It really is. And I think my dad is shining down right now, looking down when he sees these guys, seeing that they all have a little bit of something in him inside of them.
And then, the league has made it it's not sort of, like the best picture of the NFL honors, right? That's the moment similar to the culmination of the Oscars, that they announced the MVP before the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like, that's the culmination of NFL honors. And I just love the moment when past winners of the award who are in the audience, they come up on the stage and they just convene to welcome in the new member of that. It's just, man, it's awesome. It's so I guess the last question on this subject before I do want to have you put on your WGN hat, Jarrett Payton, because the Bears want to know. I mean, what did make your dad tick? Like, what are we going to learn maybe in the NFL icons? I mean, I narrated it, but what will we learn about your dad, about what made him tick to make him so great from small town Mississippi childhood to Chicago icon, Jarrett?
Never die easy. I mean, the way that he ran the football is the way that he went through life. He never gave up. He was always going to give you his best. And I think the one thing, from the stiff arm to the high step to jumping over people at the goal line, the one thing that people bring up the most is he didn't like to run out of bounds, and he was going to bring some pain to you. And I think that's just the way that he lived his life. He worked so hard. He stayed ready so he didn't have to get ready. And I think that's what I've learned the most from him as being just an adult, a father, just making sure you're always ready for your opportunity, because you never know when it's going to come. And when his opportunity came, Rich, he was ready for it. And the reason why he's so loved here in the city of Chicago, and for Bears fans all over the world, and football fans, I should say, all over the world.
And then the family man that he was, I mean, How did you pull it together as a 13-year-old to be the first son to ever induct his father into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I mean, this was back in the day when presenters had speeches too. How'd you pull it together as a 13-year-old, Jarrett?
Well, I'll tell you, I got to be honest with you. I was that kid that was always ducking out when you had to do speeches in class in front of your classmates. I would say I was sick, go down to the nurse's office. And so when he came home and told me he wanted me to do that, I couldn't break his heart, but I was also saying, I don't want to do this. But
really?
He knew, man. Yeah, I didn't want to do it at all.
I think I was off. You might have been 12, actually, Jarrett.
Yeah, I was 12.
Okay.
I was 12. And Rich, I remember that it's funny in life, and so anybody listening to this, just have this and always remember this, is that the things that we're most scared of, that frighten us, things that we don't want to take a chance at doing, take a chance at it. Because you might figure out that it becomes one of your passions and something that you truly love. And so that was the moment what I figured out what one of my passions was, and it was speaking. It was getting up in front of people. And ever since that moment, I think my dad knew that I had a gift, and he really wanted me to unlock that gift, and gave me that present to be able to present him. And from here on out, it's been something that I do on the regular, speaking to companies, speaking on TV, doing radio shows, all that stuff. It's really helped me, and it's one of my passions. So that moment changed my life forever. But to say you're the first, Rich, you know it. It's hard to say you're the first at anything.
Right.
And so to be able to say I'm the first kid to ever induct his father in the Hall of Fame, I'll take that. And I never made it as a player, but my name is in there somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. And who was in your dad's class? Who did you get to meet as a 12-year-old? Because, the classes all convene and families all get to know each other. What about that?
Coach Walsh was there. Who else was there? I'm blanking right now.
This class of '93, Chris, if you're looking it up right now.
Who was Dan Fouts, I think, was in that one as well.
Jeez, look at you, a 12-year-old rubbing elbows with Bill Walsh. Yeah. Come on now.
I mean, yeah, but I was also the 12-year-old fighting with my dad because I wanted to wear a T-shirt underneath my button-up shirt, and my dad's like, no one does that. And I remember him and I getting into it at the beginning.
Come on, it's his weekend. I guess that's what kids do.
Rich, it was hot, man, and I was sweating because I was nervous already. I didn't want to sweat through my shirt, man. So it was a battle that I wanted to win. He walked out of the room. I buttoned up my shirt with no shirt on underneath it, and then when he left, I put the T-shirt back on. So I think the hug at the end, after I got done, him saying that, hearing my son get up here and speak, I don't care if I lose the bet. That's the moment right there that I'll think about forever.
Who else was in it, Chris? Who else was in that class?
So you're right. Dan Fouts, Larry Little, Chuck Noll, and Bill Walsh.
Chuck Noll and Bill Walsh and Sweetness went it together with Fouts and Larry Little?
That's a crazy class.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh, my goodness. All right, before I let you go, let's trash Mike Martz. What do you think? Because
well, my
tweet
tweet went crazy the other day.
I saw you clap back, Jarrett. I saw you clap back. That was a very facetious and I guess maybe unprofessional way to just turn the page here. But Mike Martz was on a podcast. I believe it's on the 33rd Team Football podcast, and basically he said that Justin Fields, quote unquote, can't do anything at all. Look, I mean, he did say, I think accurately criticize some of Justin Fields' play in that monsoon over the weekend, but to say he can't do anything at all, then you clap back, Jarrett. I saw that on Twitter. I'll give you the floor on what people in Chicago are talking about and your thoughts on Justin Fields. Go for it.
Well, I didn't know it was going to take off as crazy as it did. My issue is that, Mike Martz is a brilliant football mind. And so the fact that we have a young quarterback here in Chicago, and Justin Fields, who is just in year 2 and learning a whole new offense, the monsoon as well, it was a real tough game to be able to play in. My issue is, why not give him credit for what he did in the second half of being able to create with his legs and find Dante Pettis for that long touchdown, or the read and the touch in the rain to be able to throw it over the top to Equinemius St. Brown. Like, talk about some of the positives and build them up a little bit, because I think it's too early to be criticizing all these young quarterbacks. As analysts, because of some of these guys like Justin Herbert and they come into the league that just are on fire, we expect these rookie quarterbacks to jump out and just be phenomenal right off the bat. And sometimes it takes time. And so here in Chicago, Bears fans are excited about Justin Fields, and they should be. And I think they should be excited about the pairing of Luke Getsy and Justin Fields, because now I think Justin has somebody they can really vibe with and help him take his game to the next level. But hats off, though, really quick, to Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles for what they've done. I mean, what we saw in 3 preseason games and then 1 regular season game, we're seeing a more disciplined football team here in Chicago. And being disciplined is what won them that game on Sunday here in Chicago. 3 penalties for under 30 yards. I mean, that right there is not something we're accustomed to here in Chicago. So as they build this roster, which I have a lot of belief in them that they can, it's not just about wins and losses this year. It's about development of these young guys that are on this roster, and watching through a couple of drafts to see what we can do and be special here and give Justin more pieces to the puzzle that he can throw to, more weapons. And I'm here for the development. I'm not really here for wins and losses right now, because I knew how this roster was constructed under the last regime. It's going to take some time to get right, but the NFC North better know we're coming, man. I'm just letting everybody know.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put it out there right now. This is a perfect opportunity this Sunday night to go into Green Bay and steal a win. So, you got young kids that don't care about. They don't know any better on the football field. They're going to come out and play hard on Sunday night, and if they find a way to get a dub, that's good. Pressure's on that team from that NFL team from Wisconsin.
Oh, look at you! You won't even say their name. I guess the young kids don't know that they have a chance to beat their owner, right? Ownership. They're going against ownership on Sunday night.
Right. I mean, everybody's got. They got to catch them passes first. We'll figure it out. Okay. I know Aaron's going to listen to this and probably take it and he'll put it in somewhere. No disrespect to him. He's one of my favorite football players that ever played the game. So I always give him respect.
Take care of yourself, Jarrett Payton. An honor to narrate an hour about the life of your father. Great connecting with you. I'll see you at the Super Bowl again this year, if not before. Congrats on everything going on in your career. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You got it. At Payton's son, S-U-N, on Twitter and Instagram. Jarrett Payton. Again, NFL icons Walter Payton debuts Saturday night on Epix at 10 Eastern Time. And you can stream Epix on the Roku Channel. Start a free trial today just in time. There's some great episodes coming up. Troy Aikman, Ray Lewis, and so much more. Chris Carter. Epix on the Roku Channel.